Listen. Who other than Ben Janessine to get the convo going? To get the convo going, bro. First of all, you know what? Let's go over to Benjay's Twitter. Because he was on a roll today. Benjay was on an absolute roll today. You know what I mean? A Nagram28. They even a Twitch Prime. Welcome to the family, bro. ZooMaa Victor Moon. You're not going to regret it, man. If you're not a part of the ZooMaa here, I don't know what you're doing. Join the family. Appreciate everybody coming in. Absolutely. We are about 9 days from champs, and there's been virtually no marketing push from the league to promote the event. Happened last year, too, and they got bailed out because OpTic both ran a great event, plus made a deep run. The league in 6 years has yet to effectively maximize its marketing potential during both preseason and postseason windows. Plenty of things they can do that don't require a lot of money. Need a full-on rethink for next season. And then Ben says he's going to go live on Twitch, talk about it, yada, yada, yada. He said, see this stupid-ass comment too often. If they didn't care, we wouldn't have a league and they wouldn't fund a single esport competition with their IP. Clearly, they care enough to invest millions each season to make this happen. Could they do better? Yeah. There are 25-plus comments still doubling down on this as a real. Be serious, man. They give us food so they can say they are feeding us, but it's not enough for us. Guys, what do you think? Do you think they care? Even if it's just a little bit, do you think they care? Or no? Like, what do you guys think, bro? What do you think? Do you think that they care? Because people are saying no. Most people are saying no. Most people are saying no. And listen, I really don't know, bro. I don't know. Because Ben is right. They are investing money into it. But again, like, bro, I don't really know. I don't really know if they're investing money into it, but they have no passion for it, right? They don't care about it. Just because they're putting money into it doesn't mean that they care enough about it. And that's kind of where I'm at, right? Like, yeah, they somewhat care because they're putting money into it, but do they have the passion? Like, do they have the love for it? Like, do they genuinely have an actual care for it, like, in their hearts? No, they don't give two fucks about that shit, bro. They don't care, you know? So, yes, Ben is seeing the money that they're pumping into it, but, bro, a lot needs to change for this shit to, like, actually skyrocket and for this shit to for this shit to go to the next level, bro. And we know that. We all know that. Why? Because we've been talking about this for years, bro. Have we not been talking about this for years? I mean, we have these same talks every year, every season, right? And eventually, there becomes a point where it's like, when are we just gonna stop saying this stuff? You know, I don't even know if Ben's in the TS right now. Oh, actually, he is in the TS. Let me poke him. Let me see what he's doing. Let me see what he's doing here. Actually, let me poke him and see if he's here. Let me see. Poke him, Ben. Is he live right now? Is he live? Is Ben Janessine live? Let me see. Ben Nashim. No, he's not live right now. Oh, Ben, what's up, bro? I thought you were live, Benjay.
I was live. I have to go for a run though. So
oh, you're about to go for a run? I wanted to talk to you about to you about your tweets. I seen you ranting about Call of Duty and shit, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So
which way?
You said that you said, see this stupid ass comment too often. If they didn't care, we wouldn't have a league and they wouldn't fund a single esport competition with their IP. Clearly, they care enough to invest millions each season to make this happen. Could they do a better job? Yeah. Ben, yeah, they're putting money into it, but do you genuinely think they care, Ben? Like, genuinely? Like, do you actually think they care?
If they didn't care, they would be putting zero like fucking Nintendo does. Clearly, they care to an extent. The problem, and we all agree, is they need to care more and put more investment in it. Need to tie more into overall marketing endeavors. The quality of the league is better. We have more events. We have a better ecosystem. That's a ability and a spectrum of caring. That's why I think the saying they don't care comment is just fucking lazy.
Right, but can't you argue that the money's not the problem?
There are a lot of problems, but saying they're not care is just incorrect. They care enough to like fund the fucking esport.
Yeah, they do care enough to fund it.
They're spending, I would assume they're spending like at least 15 to 20 million a year to operate the league. At bare minimum.
Right. But Ben, that leads me to my next topic. Okay, yes, they gave 15 to 20 million, right? A lot of money. They're giving millions of dollars to fund a league, right? So why is the scoreboard broken for 2 years?
That's a great question. Clearly they don't care enough. That's the point I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
But saying they don't care. Why does everything need to be so fucking black and white?
It's not.
Saying they don't care. Saying they don't care means they don't care at all. It means you have like a Nintendo Smash situation where it's, oh, we don't give a fuck about esports. They care. The problem that we're running into consistently and have been for at least 15 years, predating the CDL, is they don't care enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird. Me personally, Ben, just because they're putting some money into it doesn't mean they genuinely care. That's my opinion. Like, I don't think, like, okay, yeah, they're putting money into it, yeah, but it's also a business to them at the end of the day, right? Like, maybe they were pitched something, or somebody pitched something to them, and they think that this is a way for them to make money in the future, right? Like, maybe that's why they're investing into it. But do they genuinely care about it? Like, is it on their mind? Are they constantly making updates? Are they constantly thinking about the competitive community? No, bro. I mean, if that was the case, the scoreboard wouldn't be broken. We'd be getting new maps every year. We wouldn't have problems with gun changes.
Tom, scroll down.
Yes, no
Keep
problem,
scrolling down keep scrolling down the bottom of my tweets. You're gonna see a response I made to, I think, JP.
To JP?
Keep scrolling. I don't know if you look at my replies or my tweets. Go to my.
Should I go to your replies?
Yeah, go to my replies.
Okay.
And I think I replied to JP with the point. I see where you're going, but I want to bring up this tweet.
Okay. I don't see
Keep
anything
scrolling.
to JP. I'm scrolling. That's
Justin Pistachio. It was Justin.
Justin Pistachio or JP? Because I see JP
no,
here.
To Justin. Go to Justin. Sorry.
Did I pass it?
Go. No, it's up. It's up. You scroll past it.
All right, scroll past it. All right, right here, Justin Pistachio. This right here. Are you talking about this?
Because Tom, yeah. So look on my response to Justin.
Okay, this 100%. This one.
Yeah, the biggest issue that competitive COD has had, and they've had this issue since the entirety of the history of competitive COD. This has never been solved ever.
Okay.
Is that, as you know, Tom, there are the CDL as structured, MLG as was structured, when ESL was running it as structured. They were entirely separate, essentially, from the business unit and the management that runs the actual, like, business side of Call of Duty. And that separation contributes a lot to the issue you have in CDL, because there's no synergy. That's how you end up with a fucking champs pack with armadillo skins. Like, that fucking makes a difference and makes sense to fucking the CDL. There isn't enough connection between those two units, and that is like where a lot of these issues are stemming from. Tom, you remember we've had conversations with people at Activision about this particular topic, if you remember. Yeah, and they all agree.
But I like, why can't they find that synergy? Like, why can't they get somebody, for instance, Ben, like, and I feel like you could say anybody in the Call of Duty for this. They can hire literally anybody in the competitive community, and I guarantee you they'd get this shit on the right track if they just listen to them, right? Like, what's the hold off? Like, what's the barrier, Ben? What's the barrier? What's stopping all this from happening?
Power and money is the barrier.
Power and money?
Power,
but money's not a problem, apparently. So I don't know, like,
how is money not a problem?
I mean, they have so much money. I just wouldn't see it to be a problem.
I gave you a number I think their budget is, but I think for all the stuff they need to fund, I think that's barely enough. I think they have good funds, but like, I don't think it's enough to do more they could be doing, especially like where I think their biggest miss right now is missing with the online league format, missing with not enough land majors, missing with poor off-season content, and missing with a quality Q4 event and like launch activity. Like, a lot of that is solved with more money. Like,
I mean, we should be in a LAN league for one. I mean, we should be in a LAN league. We had a LAN league years ago.
Expensive though. LAN league's expensive.
But I don't think. But Ben, I think if the competitive, like, bro, I don't think them finding budget. I mean, listen, I don't know the business side. If anything, Ben, you probably know the business side more than me, right? I just wouldn't think finding a budget to just do a LAN event, to do a LAN league, wouldn't be that hard for them. Like, I feel like they should be able to do that if they wanted to get it. We ran it years ago. We did this years ago. Like, we were at a LAN league.
The way MLG, the way they pulled off that LAN league was like very. I had to be careful what I say because I'm gonna piss off at him.
Well, before you start, but before you go, okay, all these organizations, Ben, are already investing so much money into players' living expenses and offices and all that other shit that's going on. Like, it might benefit everybody to be in one spot, right? To do a LAN league.
Bro, the team's willing to shoulder. So the way it worked,
they should be. The team should be.
The way it worked with the old LAN league,
it's just gonna help them. And it's gonna help their pockets as well, Ben. It's gonna help their pockets because if everybody's living in the same spot, right?
But it gets complicated because like there's a bunch of structural issues. So like the way that the team participation agreement is structured, that responsibility falls on the team for the contractual agreement. So they would need to modify that agreement. The way the old land league worked, if you remembered, is that I think what MLG did is that they use economies of scale and like efficiencies they have within their business to not have as much overhead and like labor costs on how they were running within the studio, because they had to have incurred costs on like the travel and accommodations for all the players. If you remember, you guys got all your flight covered, and you also had yourself, like, you were put up in an apartment for 2 weeks at a time. We had to cover travel, like we had to cover like rental car and shit, but like the apartment side was like covered, you know?
Yeah.
That's expensive. They rented out those apartments for literally like 6 or 7 months.
Right.
Like I think you could do it now, but I think the way it would be structured is like the teams would have to figure all of that out individually for their individual trips. So people would say like Airbnbs.
But they're already doing that anyway, is what I'm telling you. They're already doing all that. They're already paying for these guys' livings. Every single franchise.
Yeah, but this is more cost on top of that. You're adding more cost.
How?
Think about Land League. How many weeks? Hypothetical Land League. How many weeks is that? 8 weeks? 6, 8 weeks?
I'm confused. The players live there the whole year. They lived there the whole entire year. I'm confused as how this affects. Nothing would change. The players would still. They'd be living out of Texas. You're saying
a Land League in Texas.
I'm giving an example. I'm just saying Texas as an example, right? Say the Land League was in Texas, right?
At what studio and what facility?
I mean, that's something they're gonna have to figure out, right? I don't have the answers for you right now. I'm just giving you an example of what I could see, what they should be aiming to do. What they should be aiming to do is getting everybody in one spot, right? Pay for everybody. Yeah. The franchises should be paying for the players' livings, which they are doing anyway, right? And instead of paying for them in whatever respective city they're in right now, everybody's just gonna be in the same city. And like all these.
So let me address your questions as well as some people from the chat.
Okay.
So. Yes, hypothetically, if this is like LCS, you're gonna say, look, everybody based out of Texas, and we go from there, then yes, it could theoretically work because everybody would just commute to the facility. The problem is someone said just build a facility. Mm-hmm. Look, I don't know if you know what it costs to build out a studio, like from a blank box, where you get like a warehouse space, to fill it out, put utilities in, build a studio, buy all the gear for a studio.
Before you keep going though, Ben, you keep going, I don't think they need a crazy fucking studio with a whole stage and a whole giant projector. Look at CS.
Yeah, they do. Otherwise, it would look like ass.
No. Look at CS. I mean, CS, they're in little rooms. You got one team on the left, one team on the right.
Yeah,
right?
Because those are temporary because they get that room for a week and then they go play in an arena.
What's the team saying in here, dude?
Tony, I need you. Tony, I need you, man. Because in my opinion, right? Like, but I think whatever that added cost is that you're talking about, and Ben, I completely understand what you're saying, right? Like, I completely get that you're coming at it from a business side, Ben. So, and I completely respect and understand that, right? Like people are saying Ben's yapping and shit. I understand where Ben's coming from because like you got to think about it too from their perspective, from a business side. But Ben, me personally, I think it's going to be better in the long run if they invested a little bit more. And I say a little bit in terms of their money, because in terms of their money, knowing how much they've made over the franchise over the last fucking decade, right? They have the funds, Ben, to put an extra little bit in there, an extra little bit in the pie. Like, Ben, let me ask you this. Do you think an extra $1 million would go a long way? Or an extra $2 million would go a long way?
If you're an extra $1 or $2 million, you could probably... $2 million, you could definitely run at least one more LAN event with $2 million. You can make that work.
Okay. No, I'm talking about a LAN league, Benji. I'm talking about a LAN
league. If you had $2 million, if you had $2 million, you had an existing studio space, right? And I'm not just saying a studio space that has like enough space for practice areas, catering, like all the things you would need to actually run like a functional show. On top of that, it would need to have theoretically like, if you want to do it right, you can make it a closed studio. I think like getting seats for like 50 or 100 would help. It would create some environment. You can bring gate
Ben,
in.
I'm just saying.
I'm thinking through in my head. Just give me a second.
All right.
I think you could theoretically do it. The biggest impediment I think to a LAN league is teeny cost for teams. And you all say like base it out of Dallas. I'm sorry, but there are a couple organizations in the CDL that I just think for political reasons and for local market reasons would never agree to have a LAN league like in an HMA of an existing team. Like, I just think there are a couple of organizations in COD that will say that gives way too much power to OpTic, and they're not going to do it.
That's also going down another road. Which
but
is
they are
getting
very,
rid of franchising and getting the fuck out of this bullshit that we're in.
Then if we get rid of franchising, is a whole different.
But yeah, that's a whole different conversation. Because in my opinion, that's also what's hindering COD is franchising. Like
well, it's hindering all esports. It's not like Riot's franchising endeavor is going great either right now.
I think franchising's a whole other conversation that I can talk about for days.
That's a different combo. Listen, bro.
Because in my opinion, we could be doing a lot more, spending a lot less. I just think they're thinking about it the wrong way. But go ahead, Tony. I'll leave it at that.
They all the owners got sold a dream in the beginning, and I think when it comes to the franchising model, they just need to realize that, like,
have you ever seen the pitch deck?
The pitch deck? No, I don't think.
Have you ever seen the deck?
What I wanted to say about the LAN League was the issue with the LAN League. The issue with the LAN League is for players. Players, the LAN League is incredible, but at what they see, like they don't see a big difference in viewership or anything from a LAN league compared to an online league. So why would they spend all that money for no difference in viewership or anything? I think that's the way they look at it. It's one thing if the viewership doubles or triples when it's a LAN league, but they just see it as all other esports do most of their stuff online besides like playoffs and LANs and majors or whatever. So why would they make this huge investment on a product that's still going to have the same eyeballs on them? I think that's the way they look at it.
The counter is that I think the argument I would make is that if you could find a space where you could bring in a regular audience of say 50 to 100 people and create a different environment that switches that paradigm, that would be great. And more importantly, I think for the publisher side, a space that they could use for pro-am content, influencer content, rolling would be very valuable to them, right? Because like the content that they love, the content for them that fucking bangs, is not really the CDL stuff. It's when Kason runs a fucking Aiden Ross tournament or runs a Kai Snat tournament. Those ones get all the eyeballs they want because that increases their audience and reach for COD.
I don't understand your point, though. Why would you need a full-time studio for that? Like, that can just be, like, for example, like Kason didn't need it.
Renting out a studio is expensive.
So is owning and operating one, isn't it? It's probably more expensive to consistently.
So not if the business model of operating the same studio is driven by like publisher content that you're filling in. Is it better?
They don't need a crazy studio, man.
No. But so this is better. The better question about this is not should Activision run the studio. It's for all of these tournament organizers out there, say your EFGs of the world, that don't have a real studio space in North America right now. Is this the type of business they'd want to get into and pitch, say, an Activision or another publisher? Because like they could fill that with 300 days of content and it would make sense for them economically.
Yeah.
But like
I do want to address,
I don't know.
I do want to address this one guy in the chat, this guy M Carr, because we're just talking, and he said, I respect your opinion, but look at it from this point, right? Because I was talking about how I was talking about the franchising stuff, right? And he said, It's not the league's fault. It's the org's fault for not advertising their team. People would support a team that they have a connection with because they grew up in that city or state. And I'm not going to fully disagree with that because I do think
yes and no, bro.
I do think people like to lean into that. But I'll tell you what the problem is. No, I'll tell you what the problem is with franchising, right? One, it leads to the problem with what Ben said, right? Some teams, it's going to get political and teams aren't going to want to do it. It eliminates a LAN league, right? It kind of eliminates that because people are going to be picky on where we're going and what's going to be happening, right? So you can already take the LAN league out, right? And we're not like a sport where people have stadiums and we're traveling to different stadiums and playing at their stadiums, which, by the way,
the initial
that
thing.
was the initial goal. Yes, that was the initial goal, by the way, was to be traveling to all these cities, right? First year of the CDL, I was there, and my schedule, I was going to Paris 3 times, London 2 times. We were going to
play one match.
To play one match.
The pitch was for all of these teams to own and operate a like 4,000 to 7,000 seat like multi-purpose venue. Yeah, esports would be part of the programming, but they would own this real estate that'd be very valuable because that is like a super sweet spot for like mid-sized concerts and other events, and you would just rate because you could program it like 200, 300 days out of the year.
And then another thing with the franchise model, there's a big disconnect between the amateur scene and the pro scene. There's very limited spots, and it becomes more of a political, like, gatekeep kind of way than somebody just dead ass earning their spot, right? Through like, for instance, right? Back in my day, right, when I was playing, it didn't matter if Nameless was saying, oh, you can only do this online, or you could only do this, or you could only, because when it came to it, if I worked my way through open bracket and made it into pool play to play the fucking pros, he has no choice but to play me, right? It won't be so gated, right? Like it'll open up to so many other people and so much more talent, and it'll just make things better for everybody. We'll see way more organizations, we'll see way more players, we'll see way more talent, we'll have way more gameplay, way more events, right? And then what happens when all of that's happening, right? When all of that's happening, then you make more money, right? And the product's growing even more. And then the business starts growing, right? And then when you make more money, you're able to invest more. And then you slowly work your way up and you grow it to something great. The problem with Call of Duty is I think the Call of Duty skipped 10, 20 years. They skipped years. And they're trying to make this something. They're rushing, bro. They're not taking the proper steps into actually growing the esport. Like they're trying.
I think they tried. To be fair, I think
they tried, but they didn't go about it the right way, Tony. In my opinion,
I think they really tried, and I don't mind their initial attempt. I just think they needed to change things way earlier than now. Like right now, it should be kind of like a Halo model where you have partner teams, but if you look at a Halo tournament, you have teams that go through pools and can make it into the pro bracket just by playing through pools, right? You still have your partner teams. OpTic's an HGS partner team. And then you have teams that aren't HGS partner teams that can field a roster and then go play against these partner teams. That's the way it should be. It shouldn't just be the 12-team league. The fact there's still 12 teams is unacceptable. I don't understand. Everyone talks about how good the Pro-Am events are. It can't be too difficult to allow 4 more teams and go back to the pool play format.
Yeah.
The issue is all the owners that got pitched the initial thing would need to start being a little more open-minded and be like, okay, we're down to actually go back. Because you know what happens when they had 4 teams? Well, here's the issue. Every team was promised a set amount of time on broadcast, each match to be streamed exclusively on one stream. So when you start introducing our old format, you have to go to these owners and you need to be like, okay, we're going to run 2 or 3 streams. These teams that aren't partnered teams are also going to get airtime. So then it's going to come to this like, what the fuck is the word I'm looking for?
There's so much finite time, and this is what I was trying to argue with a little bit on Twitter.
It's going to come down to the owners being like, okay, fine, do whatever you want. We'll be okay with it. And that's the issue. Is a lot of them are going to be like, well, this isn't what we were promised.
Have you guys been following Catalog coming into Formula One, like the whole saga last couple of years?
No.
Anyone in chat has? If people in chat know, do you guys know the reason, the main reason why they did not want Catalog to come in? It's the same reason why I think CDL is held off an expansion. See if anyone can guess it.
Well, don't guess it. What is it? Why didn't they let Cadillac in? What can you just tell us?
Yeah, what am I in jeopardy, dude?
Yeah, just tell us.
Because the issue, what was holding back the Cadillac situation was that if you added another team, or another 2 teams, or another 3 teams, then the revenue's got to be split in more different fucking directions, right?
That's if you add partner teams. Why can't they just do this Halo model and keep these 12 teams the partner teams?
Well, but then they got to pivot completely away from franchising. You're asking them to just blow the TPA and make a new agreement. That's a whole nother conversation.
They already kind of did. They already refunded the $25 million or whatever. Obviously, they forgone the $25 million.
They still have the closed system in which like exclusive IP,
which
MTX,
needs to change though, is what I'm saying. Like if that's what it comes down to. The owners need to be like, okay, we're down to become partner teams. We can move away from this super exclusive model, and then we'll let amateur organizations or even former pro organizations start fielding rosters, but we will still be the partner teams. I feel like that's the only way it's going to happen.
The part of the fun thing about this conversation is like, I wish we'd hear more from owners, because the perspective is just like, they don't want to add other people into the fucking boardroom, bro. Like you pivot to the partner model, and they're going to give more power, more equity to the community in these like smaller orgs, and they don't want to give up the influence they have right now. It's sad. I think eventually we're going to pivot away from franchising probably to that end. But at the moment, I think that's a key reason why it hasn't happened yet. I think they're holding out hope they can figure out the economics around this 12-team thing right. There's rev share. You know, I know now the Champs Pack gives revenue to the teams, but I think that launches too late in the season.
The Champs Pack's an armadillo.
Yes, exactly. It's a fucking armadillo. So they've kind of missed there.
Yeah, I mean, Listen, bro, I think this goes back to what I said before, bro. I think it goes back. They could be doing a lot more, spending a lot less. I just don't think that they're like even the schedule.
I don't know about spending less. I don't know.
Bro, look right at now, look at the schedule right now, Ben. We finished Major 4. COD has been dead. Literally dead.
But when they need more money to activate that time, like that's what I'm saying. You're asking me more efficient with the spend on the money. I mean, like
no, they need to also lighten up on the rules, bro. They don't let full teams compete outside of CDL. So like you don't even need actual league ran things, right? There could be a fucking ZooMaa tournament or a Methodz tournament or whatever tournament, but the issue is the teams need to be allowed to compete in them.
So I would say that Kayshawn has showed that there is a path forward to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some voodoo shit with Kayshawn. I don't know what he did, but there's some serious
voodoo shit, bro. Kayshawn's just
there's no voodoo shit with Kayshawn.
He's just Kayshawn's a talker, bro. He's a talker. He's a good talker, bro.
I know Kayshawn has talked about this. Kayshawn
when Hitch tried, they told him to sit on a broom.
We've tried, but
they said the same thing to me.
Kayshawn also did a trade with them that was very smart. I don't know. I think he's talked about it on stream, but I don't want to out him if he hasn't already said his piece about it.
Let Kayshawn
he had a very Kayshawn came to. I will give Kayshawn a lot of credit. He went to the table with a very good concept on how it would benefit all parties, and it made business sense for them to pull through with the idea. It was a very smart idea to Kayshawn that made a lot of sense. It was not Diddy party connections. Get the fuck out of here, chat. Like, come on.
I just think the way they view it, like this exclusive team thing, right? Let's start from like the way they think. They think ZooMaa throwing a tournament, for example, would make it less fun to watch the CDL because you would have seen these pro teams in action more. And it's the exact opposite. If Tommy threw a CDL tournament, for example, more people would gravitate towards these teams. Tommy would be going from call to call, talking to the players. It would actually make the CDL more fun to watch. You'd feel a more personal connection to the players rather than just being able to watch them strictly on a CDL team as a team of 4. You know what I mean? I just think the way they think of it is the complete opposite of the way it would actually work.
So
we would all prefer to watch more Call of Duty and see more of the players.
Two things in. You're absolutely correct, because I've had conversations, especially early on, like with people, and they're not there anymore on the marketing side. They were like, we love, I was asking them, like, why is the first event at the end of January? Oh, we love the mystique of having to wait a while to see these teams play. And I'm like, bro, that makes no sense. People want to see those teams play from the minute the game launches. They want to see OpTic and FaZe and Thieves play head-to-head 15 times online for the first event so they can all talk their shit and know all the storylines going in. It's a horseshit thought process. From my understanding, the biggest impediment to why there have not been full team tournaments, and Kayshawn was able to figure it out, is that there are very specific media rights requirements about when CDL teams play in a competition, when they use CDL names. And getting around this is the way that like EWC has been able to operate and the way that Kayshawn operated. When you leverage like the parent organizations, they don't have to use the actual CDL IP. You get around those issues. Now, I have a feeling...
Why are they acting like fucking Toronto Ultra is Real Madrid, brother? What do you mean leveraging the brand?
One more thing. I think it's the way... I think this is the biggest issue, honestly, from my understanding. I think that is the biggest impediment to it, because the minute that the teams play, they have to be a part of that conversation. And I think if that goes away, what I typed in the chat, I think it frees up.
Say that?
Because I don't want to out that, because I don't think it's public. I don't.
Wait, you didn't make anything. What do you mean?
I mean, if you want to say it, feel free.
What are you talking about? Saying what?
What I put in the chat.
YouTube. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about YouTube.
I think from my understanding, when you start getting official CDL teams wearing jerseys,
talk about it, bro.
Wearing their brand, and then YouTube's got to be a party because they have distribution rights.
That's a fair point.
CDL.
That's actually a fair point.
I think once that deal were to not be a thing anymore, and that's freed up, then what other impediment is it to it? You know what I'm saying? Like if the YouTube deal ends after the season, like, are they then free to figure out this third party thing? Now it's a whole separate conversation about funding and how to actually like provide a way to do those events. But like the sanction process is there.
Bro, listen, I'm gonna work for free. I still think if they give me 15 minutes of their time bi-weekly, I can make some magic happen. But here's what has to happen when a new game comes out. It's the most simple thing in the world. You know that huge marketing budget that they use to throw Warzone tournaments and other tournaments? Allocate a portion of that to a huge CDL tournament within the first couple weeks of the game dropping when the whole world is playing and watching Black Ops 7. It is the most foolproof. It blows my mind how we don't have anything impactful for months when we have a game that has so much traction in month 1, month 2. Mostly like month 1.
Pull my tweet. Go back to your...
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the most...
How many tweets you got?
Allocate some of that budget and throw a big tournament, and that's how you can maybe actually bring new eyes in.
Tom, if you go to replies and go back to my reply to Justin Pistachio, I agree with you, Zen. Shout out people like Rob and Shanice. They help fund a lot of these community tournaments that Tom and I
love Rob and Shanice, by the way. Two absolute
we love Rob and Shanice. We all love Rob and Shanice.
If you click the 100p thing, my comment to Justin, while that would be great, the problem is that the way the CDL is structured and the way that, say, Rob and Shanice and their side of the business is structured, yeah, they talk to each other, but they don't like fall in the same line. And I think what you're asking for is much more difficult to pull off because of how it's structured. Because I agree. You know what I'm saying? I think the CDL, and I literally tweeted about it. If you click the tweet, if you go back to my Twitter, Tom, and look at like the second tweet I fired off today, where I talked about how the CDL does a really bad job of marketing preseason and postseason. I agree with Zed. Bro, they should be doing a lot more online exhibition, S&D only tournaments when the game comes out, the 2v2s. Like, they should be doing a whole host of like really cool preseason content before the V1 rule sets in, and then doing some really good offseason stuff, whether it's online or LAN.
I mean,
like, they're not taking advantage of that.
I mean, yeah, they could be doing a lot more. I mean, bro, maybe the spending less was a little bit dragged, Ben. I was talking mainly about spending less and doing more when it came to just like more community stuff. Doing a LAN league, I feel like they could save some more money than you think with like living expenses shit. But it does get political with franchises and different shit and location. I get your point on that, so I kind of got that. But Ben, realistically, with the amount of money they're making, it wouldn't hurt them at all to put a little bit more money into the pot. If it's gonna lead to a lot more stuff going on, the more that's going on, the more they're gonna make. So it's just better for everyone. And I don't understand why it's an issue.
Landly question to you, right?
Yeah.
You like 12 teams, but you would want to see maybe 4 teams qualify in for a LAN league, right? So you have 16, correct?
Wait.
Yeah, if you want a LAN league, do you want just the 12 CDL teams, or would you want people to be able to qualify in like VCT?
No, eventually I want people to qualify in 100%. There should be
okay. So like, let's say like Omit. So then Rafi, in your situation, would be responsible for all travel and accommodation to like LAN leagues. Do you think those teams could afford to pull that off?
Well, I mean,
meaningful salary.
It depends.
You're running a structural problem.
Yeah, that definitely becomes a problem for sure. I would say, if anything, if you just keep it the partner teams to start off with, then you just keep it the partner teams. But there should be ways for people to like have the opportunity to go from.
Okay, hold on,
there
Ben.
needs to be more of a connection.
I'm not calling Rafi broke. I'm just saying.
Wait, no, you're not.
Fund some of the teenagers.
Yeah, here's my question. So why?
I know what Ben's saying.
But that's what they did. They funded an MLG 16-team LAN league back for how many years at the MLG studio? They funded it. They flew out everybody. They paid for the lodging. Why can't they do that again?
Okay, so MLG did that. Keep in mind, they ran a lot of other activity out of that space. Remember when like the league wasn't there, they probably programmed that. I would love to ask Adam how many days they did at the peak. They were probably doing something like 200-ish or 150 like studio days a year out of that studio, which is incredible. They were doing like one every other day. It's like really awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I just think that Activision's not going to get in that kind of studio operation business. So that's a better question to like EFG or some other TO. Like, are they willing to spin up a space like that to do it? Now, a lot of you guys are going to say ESA. I think ESA is an interesting space. The only thing with ESA I would say is like they have a pretty full calendar now. They don't just run esport events out of ESA. I don't know if y'all know this. They run a lot.
We should make it like a Love Island, dude.
Every fucking and graduations,
and then everything's on camera, Tony.
Everything's on camera. 2 players per bed. We'll do it in the hex quarters. We'll have
hex quarters. You're gonna rent 2 floors. That
absolutely.
Well, Ben, to go back to what you were saying too, though, Ben. Right? Is I mean, theoretically, the teams that do qualify in, or the teams that are already in this quote unquote LAN league, should all that shit, like Tony said, what they did in the past, it should already be paid for. I mean, it shouldn't even fall
for it.
The league. It should be paid.
I'm not gonna lie, like the land league thing, like
Ben, hold on.
I'm all for it.
Before you go,
I think you guys are looking.
But I don't think the land league is that big of a deal. If I'm being honest,
I think you're looking at the wrong way.
Ben, you. The reason why you piss me off, Ben, is because I get like it's not really on us to talk about like how other people should spend their money, right? Like it really isn't like about that. It's just for me, just looking at it from a business perspective. Like with the amount of money that they're making, I don't think it's a big ask to get a little bit more funding. I don't.
I'm not gonna lie though.
Parent company of Activision, Microsoft.
No, but here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie though. If I'm being completely honest, from where I sit right now, I would rather them spend more money on hosting more major tournaments than funding a LAN league. If I'm being honest, like the LAN league would be like cool, but I don't think that'll actually change anything. At the end of the day, once people get used to the LAN league, everyone's going to say these fucking league matches are boring because they don't mean anything. I'd rather them apply some more funding, throw 2 extra majors a year, and that way we have less downtime, more big moments, and we continue on the way we go.
Here's what I would do, Tony, is if we had a good game. We need a good game because the longer the year goes on, we're just going to be miserable. People are going to be dreading the game and wanting something new because the game's just shit and they don't update it. They don't fix certain shit if it's broken.
Now we're talking about something different, though. Because I completely agree with you. But I will say, I have I wouldn't even call it a hot take. I think no matter how bad the game is, in our opinion, everyone loves watching major tournaments, no matter what. So I think you add more major tournaments, you have less downtime. And I think everything gets better. Like I think the difference between an online league and a LAN league is going to be marginal once people get used to the LAN league. I'm not saying it's not going to be hype in the beginning, but bro, we've been here, done that. For the players, 100%. If I was a player right now, I'd be fucking doing everything I could to get a LAN league. But I just think from a viewership, from our perspective, once that becomes the norm again, we're going to go back to saying we want more major tournaments because these league matches are boring. You know what I'm saying?
Here's how you structure it then. Right now, the way that vendor business, right? Let's say you're EFG or you were MLG back in the way, works for Activision Blizzard is that you put together a budget to spend the money that Activision has. They vendor you out. You pay for it. They pay you back. Bada bing. If I were Activision, let's say I want to figure out a LAN league, go to say EFG or Blaster, say, look, we will give you money to run the majors. But if you want to make a LAN league work, you can run it. You have to figure out the commercial aspect and figure out the funding for it. We're not going to write an additional check, but you have the ability to go out and sell against this brand and bring in sponsors and partners. You make money off of that. You know, we can either figure out a revenue split or you keep it.
Zinni.
I think that's the way you would make the economics work. I don't think Activision be down to just throw in another like $2 million of one-time cost to build out a studio and an additional run each year. I think they would go to an operator and say, if you want to make this happen, and you can figure out the economics of it and commercialize it, feel free. And yeah, if we need to eat 2 on the revenue, so be it. But like that's the type of deal you see in CS, right? Because Valve writes the check for the majors. But outside of that, the rest of those TOs are trying to figure out the commercial aspect on their own end.
Tony, I was going to say, bro, realistically, like hosting more tournaments or like even my point of just getting the game fixed, right? And making a better game, right? A lot of this just comes down to passion, bro. They don't got the passion, bro. There's just people in that camp that just don't got the passion. Ben, this goes all the way back. All of them, just Activision in general. I mean,
I think the players. Okay.
Just in general, fucking, they don't got the passion for it. There's no passion, bro. They don't love this shit. Like
competitively.
Yeah, competitively.
I can't blame them, bro. They see billions from their game. Like it. That's the one thing where I'm like, dude, if I was Activision,
but
like if I was them, Tom, if me and you were them and our pockets were getting fucking slammed with billions of dollars and all of the shareholders are happy.
I wouldn't have a problem writing a check if I had billions of dollars and I had to write a check for $1 million to $2 million to make the competitive scene of the game that we created, the game that we love.
That's how me and you think because of like a competitive because we're competitors and we came from this shit.
Exactly. They don't have the passion like we do. They don't. Exactly. That's exactly my point. When you look at CS, when you look at even...
I think some people do. They just don't actually have the power. Like
the people in power don't have the passion.
Like the CDL people are always great. And I'm sure they're doing what they can. But when it comes down to it, the decisions are made by you know what I'm saying? The executives up there that
are a little that aren't going to events, bro. They have 35
they don't.
No, guys, I completely get it. Look, people are saying you're biased to comp, but Tom, it doesn't change how much they make, so they don't. But guys, you're all proving my point exactly. It's not about money at the end of the day. It really doesn't even come down to. I guess for them it's about money, and that's what I'm trying to say. They don't care about it from a passion perspective. They only care about it on a business perspective. I'm agreeing with you guys. What you guys are saying is true. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Like
I wonder. I don't know.
It is what it is.
Remember that rumor where it's like if Warzone doesn't go well this year, they're considering giving up on Warzone. Like, I wonder the resources that the CDL would get if, for example, Warzone were to fade out. Like, I feel like that's when you'd see a lot more, like, instead of these huge marketing budgets for Warzone tournaments, maybe they'd be competitive COD tournaments.
No, because it goes back to the same issue I said before, because the same people that are funding those Warzone tournaments are not in the same vertical as the CDL. And why would they throw
Not right now, because Warzone's a thing. But what I'm saying is if Warzone were to fade out.
What I'm saying is in order for that to happen, it's a reorganization. The CDL falls in line more of the Call of Duty business unit, and it's kind of in their realm. They're like two separate. The best way to think about it would be like the COD business unit, the business team that runs Call of Duty has been there for a very long time. And CDL is like a startup within Activision Microsoft. That's like a separate side. Yeah, they report in. There's like shared functions, HR, finance, whatever. But like they don't like report to the same people immediately. The first couple levels, and they're not going to go. They're not going to go support. Bro, this is just how internal politics and like corporations work. Like there's synergies, but there's not enough to be able to do what you're saying. And by the way, for what it's worth, the Warzone team does fund tournaments like that. Why the Warzone stuff comes from that business unit side, and they'll support tournaments like Davis does. Tom, they've been helpful to help us out. They've helped Kason out.
No bullshit. If they ran this whole league and this whole competitive scene, right, all of this shit, if they ran it through what the community wants and through like passion and love for it, it'd be 10 times the size, and they'd be making 10 times more money.
I'm telling you guys,
they'd be making more.
I think where it's going to go is Activision is going to say, look, if someone TO wants to come in, or the Saudis want to come in, whoever, and figure out the commercial aspect, we'll fund a couple or all the majors, but you have to figure out the rest, how to fund the online portion, a LAN league, whatever. They'll wipe their hands on most of the functions of it. They'll keep a small team to handle some of like the more sensitive communication, especially with the studio. They'll be like what they did with MLG, bro. They're gonna let someone else figure out the commercial.
Ben's in love with the Saudis.
No, no, that's not it. I'm just saying.
Can I speak bluntly?
It's Rick 101, man.
You 10 to 15 million of this.
It's Rick 101, man.
Can I speak bluntly and just be like, and I hate to be this guy that says it, but the reality is multiplayer COD is just not that game anymore, bro. We had a period of time where multiplayer COD was that game, where every high schooler, college kid, the whole world, if you were playing multiplayer games, it was basically Call of Duty. And now you have Fortnite, Apex, etc.
You're talking about what they call it. They call it an arena shooter.
Like Call of Duty was just simply that game because the games were amazing. There was a lot less competition, and now everyone's spread thin. So I don't think, Tom, I do not think that this would be 10 times the size if we change. I'm sure it would be bigger, but I just don't think people are playing multiplayer COD like they were. Like it's a different time.
COD just has a great product. Like the game itself is awesome, bro. There's a reason why people always fall back to COD, right? It's like comparing CS to Val, right? Like I'm sorry, bro, but CS is just the better game, right? Like when you compare CS to Val, I mean, I guess that's pretty opinionated, but in my opinion, like COD, if it was done the right way, right? Like it's hard to mimic COD. Like all these other games, it's hard to mimic the feel of COD.
No, bro, Call of Duty. I love COD through and through, bro. In my opinion, it's still the most fluid
every other
FPS shooter.
Like, damn, it just doesn't feel like COD. Like you ever play other FPS games and it just doesn't feel like COD. Like it just like it's hard to explain, but people do fall back to COD, and it is obviously the nostalgia of it too. It's a legendary game, but I mean, I think what they need to do better.
If
they did like a more community feel, I feel like this shit would be booming, bro. I'm sorry.
What do you mean by community feel?
I think what they really need to capitalize on.
We need to be back. This franchising needs to go. Basically, we need to go back to what it was back in the day, like open brackets, pool plays, different events.
Yeah, but see, bro, I see. I want to agree with you, but the reality is viewership is still fucking crazy, bro. We are still breaking viewership records. So we all talk about how like things aren't that good and whatever, but the numbers are still trending upwards. That's the issue. The one thing that I think could really catapult our viewership, the one thing is if they market the CDL better in-game and start bringing the casual Call of Duty base over. The people that actually play Call of Duty consistently.
Are the numbers casually, are the numbers actually going up? Like on some real shit? Like have they gone
they're
up
not going. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot, but it's not like they're going down. It's not like we're losing a lot of people.
Because I also think, bro, like, sure, Tony, but I also think just like the motion has died down a little bit. Tony, let me give you an example. Okay?
Go ahead.
Back in the day, right? When I beat OpTic one day on stage, boom, I just got 50K on fucking Instagram. I just got 50K on
crazy.
Twitter.
I just got
insane. 50K on Instagram, 50K on Twitter, right? Boom. Just like that, bro. I went to bed, woke up, boom. Right? Now, brother, you literally in COD, you can't players be making shit. I mean, people are saying cap, this is straight facts. I mean, Tony could probably say this as well. It's why you see a lot of like old OGs with like really elevated like follower counts.
I joined OpTic in 2018 and got like 40,000 followers in a day.
There you go. I mean, look, 50,000 was kind of insane. That was really dramatic, by the way, that 50,000 number that I said. Is that why you guys are saying cap? Yeah, that 50,000 was very, very dramatic. I was just saying you gain a lot. I was just trying to say, like, make a point that you were gaining a lot.
Your old social media was godlike, bro. Old social media. Well, Tom, that's what I was saying, though. That's because multiplayer COD was that shit, Tom. Multiplayer COD was that shit.
But it could still be that shit if they just do it the right way, bro. It could still be
Tom,
that shit.
Listen. Arena shooters are not as popular as they used to be. COD, yes, is a massive launch every single year. People are still buying the game and playing the game, and clearly Activision is making a lot of money off of it. But like the continual player base over the course of a year is not as high as it used to be like 5 or 10 years ago. Now, some of it is that the genre has died off, and some of it is that people have more choice now, bro. Remember when Call of Duty used to first come out? Modern Warfare 2 years, Black Ops, COD 4 years. So you didn't have that much selection, right? You didn't have as many games on Steam. You know, most people were console gaming when they were playing these arena shooters. Like, you didn't have this ubiquity of choice that you have now as far as gaming.
No, a lot of it does involve, like, in terms of like the follower growth back in the day. A lot of it was because like OpTic and FaZe, right? Like I was on FaZe, right?
People also weren't on those platforms though yet. Like people were still onboarding themselves on like Twitter and Insta. Now everybody like has an account.
Well, no, hold on. It's because social media has also changed. Like the Call of Duty community back then was like everyone kind of knew each other. Like the Call of Duty community was like an elite social media experience. And now your fucking feed isn't that. Like my feed used to be Call of Duty community, and now I'm seeing bombs, death, politics. Like shit's just being. It just changed, right? Like social media has changed. But I still need to say, that's like, remember back on 360 when you can watch Netflix with your boys and you could all be in that theater? You guys know what I'm talking about? They need to add that to Call of Duty during major tournaments. And if you go hop on with your boys, you can press a button, and next thing you know, you're staring at the CDL stream. Like, you need to start making it a lot more accessible to bring in Call of Duty casual players over to Call of Duty competitive. I've said this my whole life, bro. The issue is a lot of the casual players don't know CDL is a thing. But if you're a casual COD player and you play a few times a week and you love it, and you find out the pros are playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, you might want to watch that. The issue is a lot of them just doesn't know it exists.
Listen, I do want to end this like saying this. Okay, at the end of the day, CDL, franchise, whatever, right? Yada, yada, yada. Like, there's always so much you could do more. But at the end of the day, bro, we just need more support on the developer side so we can actually have good games. Like, we need good, entertaining games. Like, games that make sense, games that are fun to play, games that are competitive, like, games that are fun to watch. Bro, if there's any pros listening, bro, this whole sniper shit needs to go as well. I don't give a fuck. I will die in this hill, bro. We need to bring snipers back. Is it going to change much? I don't know, but it'll definitely make it more entertaining for sure. It'll definitely make that shit more entertaining. Like, bro, we need to make this shit booming, and in order to make this shit booming, it needs to be, one, a good game, and it needs to be entertaining, bro. And I think they can at least invest some more into that side, into just supporting the competitive scene. Like, this is how I started it, and this is how I ended. The broken scoreboard is just unacceptable, right? 2 years of a broken scoreboard, that tells you everything that you need to know.
Insane,
the
bro.
love and the passion for it, right, is just not there from the people that matter most, from the people that make the decisions.
Bro, we're playing
the
an
love
old
and the
patch.
passion is not there. It's just not there. It is what it is. Like, we don't need to talk about
understand,
this anymore.
Tom.
It's over with. It's over.
We're playing on an old patch because, like, they functionally cannot put out the current patch as a product at Con Champs and not have it be a fucking absolute clusterfuck. They subsequently couldn't figure that out in like 6 or 7 weeks, which is insane.
I mean,
they knew this event was coming up.
I mean, yeah, bro, that's
same
what I'm saying. Like, we can go on and on about funding, franchising, this, boom, boom. We can go down the list of things that they could do better. Realistically, right? Even Tony said it. The viewership's still there. Blah, blah, blah.
Let's get Warzone out, bro. Because, fuck you, Repulse, Biffle, fuck you all. Let's get Warzone. Let's get Warzone out of here, and then we'll add all of this.
Warzone can live on its own, bro. Warzone can still live on its own, bro.
Too much attention over there. We need to fix the scoreboard, and we need to get back to the glory days.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing, bro.
No, I will, brother. I think maps fucking suck because of Warzone.
Yeah, but yes,
I think
maybe
maps also
yes,
suck because of challenge range.
But again, Warzone can still exist, and we can still have good maps, right, Tony? Like, that's what I'm saying.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I mean, last year via risk.
Because there's no passion, Tony. They don't got no love for this shit.
You guys love to blame Warzone, and like, I think you're not totally incorrect.
No, I'm not blaming Warzone. I'm not blaming
people
Warzone.
also would rather play Warzone.
I was kind of just kidding. I just wanted to say fuck Repulse and Biffle.
I know, but that's a game that people want to play. Like, they're just trying to follow what their audience wants to play. Like,
I will say though,
your beef is with the average fucking COD player.
I mean, bro, here's the thing though. This game is also like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it used to be simple, bro. You used to put 2 or 3 attachments on your gun, and now there's 130 different attachments.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Like, at some point we got to go back to some basics. But at the end of the day, it'll all fall to map design. The reason why everyone prefers MW3 to this game is simply due to maps. If Vista, Rio, and 6 Star didn't come in last year, I don't think people would have that opinion. So but we got fresh maps.
A lot of people. So you think Warzone's like the root issue? Like, you don't think they can't just make multiplayer different from Warzone?
No, I was kind of just trolling. I don't actually know what goes on. Like, I'm not sure if the people making.
No, a lot of people are agreeing though. Now it's got me thinking, because I'm like, well, realistically, yeah, the maps have been ads, right? We do have a shit ton of attachments now, right? And a lot of that could stem from Warzone. But how come multiplayer just doesn't have any of that? Like, why does it need to have?
Because people don't want. Listen, the market does not want to play the arena shooter aspect as much as they want to play Warzone. And so they're going to focus resources and abilities to make continuous money after the game comes out on the thing that people want to play. It's a smaller community that plays the matchmaking hoppers.
Which I can't blame them for that, by the way. I don't blame them.
But like, they're also just trying to follow where the fucking audience is going. Like, if you guys have beef with that, like, you need to bring it up with your average.
No, but here's the thing.
Wants to play Warzone over matchmaking.
Here's the way I think things should change, though, Ben. Here's the way. If I was running a company, and once again, maybe I'm naive, and because I'll tell you right now, I don't understand how to run a company.
Is better than ever, so I'm confused.
But what I'm saying, well, no, but viewership
booming or not? What is the viewership?
No.
Don't really
bro,
know
no. CDL events do get up there, bro. Like, when you get a hype ass game and a hype ass champs final, and it's not like we're like marketing to a lot less people than we were before.
And we're on
what I'm saying though,
platform, Ben, which is important.
To say your point, because I want to. There's a
Ben.
We haven't talked
Here's
about.
what I'm saying, right?
Is important, bro.
I am okay with them adding resources and supporting Warzone because that makes total sense. The BR genre, like, I totally get that. But if you're going to add a new product and focus on that, then you also can't let the other product fall off a cliff. Like, you need to either bring more people on or do whatever you have to do to make sure that other product, the older product, is still getting the proper care and attention that it needs to get in order for it to work the right way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because Warzone has a lot more resources doesn't mean that multiplayer should have less. If anything, you bring more people on or you figure it out. That was my point.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that, again, the market, the average player is going to spend more time on Warzone than they are with matchmaking. That just kind of is what it is. Yeah, they should better use the resources around matchmaking, to your point, like scoreboard. Things that they should fix that are quality of life improvements. But I also think to add on to that, like, they have like a burgeoning esport in COD Mobile that's very popular in non-English speaking countries. And yeah, I know the publishing aspect that's a little bit complicated, but like they can be.
I heard that game is godlike.
Yeah, and it's not, the reason it's not big here is it's very popular in Southeast Asia, but it's not like English speaking mobile gaming, just not that big. It's way big in other regions because we have more access to PCs and consoles. And the other thing is the fact that they were never able to figure out in the height and the path, the top end of Warzone, how to make that a fucking esport. I know everybody's got feelings about BRs and esports, whatever. The fact that they couldn't fucking figure out the politics on that was insane because there was a lot of momentum, a lot of viewership, and the scene is still tiny. All right, listen. When they could have turned into ALGS.
I'll tell you what, my mindset has changed, though. My mindset's changed. I used to always think, you know what? Screw these old maps. I love Raid, but I don't want to watch it anymore. I think the exact opposite now. I would much rather watch Raid every single year on a consistent basis than have to worry about getting good new maps. Do you guys agree? Like, I would much prefer to see Raid and all of these incredible competitive maps year over year than deal with years where we don't have good competitive maps.
Yes and no. I would rather have those than the shit maps we're playing, but I do want new maps, like new competitive maps. I mean, I would love to have some new competitive maps.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm done.
Look at COD Mobile, Tony. They have everything. COD Mobile has every map, every gun, every skin in a book. They have crazy skin. Like, they got all different types of shit on COD Mobile. But hold on. A donation came in from Med, and I want to answer this question because I think it's a good question, okay? Because I actually kind of agree with him. I'm kind of like, he said, do any of you know the percentage of players that play COD? Who plays ranked / pubs? Because I think what they are missing is diving into fully comp play in the game. I think the next step is to become comp. Comp games are running the scene. How realistic is that? Like, how realistic that is, right?
Nah, not for COD.
What do you mean?
I don't, like, COD is not an inherently competitive game. Like, we built a competitive scene within their game, but Valorant, Counter-Strike, these games were launched with competitive gaming in mind, whereas Call of Duty just a lot more casual arena shooter. You can't 20 years later turn Call of Duty into a strictly competitive product when the game was built on public matches.
Why not?
You just can't, because you would lose everyone that has played COD for 20 years, or at least a lot of them.
I don't even think they'll notice the difference. They're just going to be like, yeah, bro, another Call of Duty's out, and they're just going to fucking buy it. They're not even going to... You can still have they can still play pubs and rank up their pubs. They can you know what I mean? They can still do that.
What the hell are you am I high or are you high? You're the high one. I'm so confused.
Am I high?
Okay, so what are you saying they should do?
They got to dumb down the game and make it a good competitive game. Even pubs should be like, it should just be a competitive, like, no cheese, no bullshit, just all across the board. No claymores, none of that bullshit. It's just a straight competitive game from the box.
Nah, I disagree with that.
And you don't think so? You think if they came out with just a competitive game off the box, you don't think that casual players would still play it? I think they still play it. I think they still. I don't even think they know it. I don't even think they'd even like. I think they still fucking play it, bro. I think it'll still be a fire game. You still have, bro. It'll basically be like
you would essentially be changing the entire business model in game for 1% of the player base instead of the 99% that play your game. That it just doesn't make sense. Why would you transition your game to the 1%?
What is it that they really like? They really like all the attachments. They really like what the casual person, right? What is it? What is it that they really like? Is it the attachments and the claymores in the streaks? What is it? Like the streaks?
I think
the kill streaks? What is it?
I think it's the variety. I think it's the fact that they could sit in a corner and use a claymore. I think it's the fact that they could lay down and snipe. I think it's the fact that they could hop on behind a little turret. I think a lot of things like, they can just hop on and play TDM with their boys and bullshit. Like, a lot of people don't want that super sweaty experience and to play hardpoint and like sit there calling out, right? They want to talk about work.
Yeah, but can't you still do that? Can't you still make the game? Can't you still make the game around competitive and then still have like fun game modes and other shit like that to just do other stupid shit?
This is where I think the opposite, bro. I've always been against a competitive title, right? Like, I don't think Call of Duty should release a different competitive game or transition to a competitive model. What we should do is market the competitive model to the existing player base better. That's the biggest mishap that we have, is that we don't bring over the casual TDM players or whatever because they just don't know about it. There's no way for them to find out about it. That's the thing that I think we're missing the most. And I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's...
Somebody said that I don't understand the casual community, and like, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably don't. Because they probably like what... Because he said that the casual community probably hates the competitive community, which like is probably true.
Well, Tom, think about, I mean, like, at least for me, right? Speaking personally.
It's honestly kind of hard for me because I was never like a COD casual. I always played COD in a competitive way, like even when I was young.
Let me give you my experience and how I started, right?
Yeah.
Back in COD 4, when I started playing at my friend's house and I got a console, I had no idea about competitive or anything like that. I was like, I want to get headshots because I want to get Red Tiger, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot, or, oh, I want to try that silenced P90 I just got killed by. I like the way that sounds and looks.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. So it's just a different way to looking at the game. But I still think there's room for those guys to come over and watch us play competitive COD. They just don't really know where it's at.
I mean, that is true. Look, so somebody said, well, here's the thing, right? Somebody says CS has 1.2 million players right now. It's a competitively built game, and they still have a casual community. 100%. Like, they still, like, CS, they built their game. It's just, but it's also just like what Tony's saying. They did that from the get-go, right? Call of Duty's, they already built out what they built out, right? So, like, like they can't, it would be hard for them to like change now, right? Like like CS started as a competitive game. Did it start as a competitive? It did, right? Like, it came out as a competitive game, right?
CS?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think CS has always been like a competitive game.
I mean, bro, listen, I always thought, for me, like a casual COD player, like, just liked new maps, like new guns, like, you know, they just want to hop on and just like get the highest like rank in pubs and just drop like a 6.0 in pubs. And I feel like
some people do. I mean, it just, once again, it's different for everybody, and that's the thing. That's what I think Call of Duty does very well.
Like,
I think
even if it's a competitive game, you can still have a casual game mode. Like, if they don't want to sweat and they just want to play fun, they can have like a casual game mode with like old maps, a whole bunch of different maps, and just like they can play and they can rank up and blah, 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 but it just doesn't go to their main rank. Like, it could just be a casual mode. Like CS has and Valorant has, right? They have their other things that you can play, like the TDMs and shit, whatever, the free-for-alls, right? And you don't actually, like, you're not playing ranked, right? Like, you're not ranking up your ranked, right? Rocket League, same thing, right? You can play competitive Rocket League, but there's also, like, a casual, like, there's an unranked, right? There's a fucking unranked shit, right? I'm just saying, to build the game, to make the game competitive, like, I still think... That's why I think the casuals will still play it. Like, if they don't want to sweat, Tony, they can go play they could go play the unranked. Just go play the unranked lobby. You know what I mean? Just go play the unranked lobby and go have fun. Like, it's not gonna be sweaty.
But how's that different than now? Like, that's what I don't understand.
Because
what you're
now
saying.
They're not building
right now. You have
because right
play.
Now they're dropping a game and it's not a competitive game. They're not dropping the most. It's somewhat of a competitive game, but it's not like competitive. You know what I mean? Like, they're not focusing on it being a competitive game. Where it's like, you know what I mean when I say competitive game, right?
I mean, yeah, like a game that's like...
I'm reading chat. What do they want me to read? Ultra tweet? What's going on? They're all spamming read chat, L reader. What's happening right now?
Oh, yeah, no, there's... Ultra announced a tournament on the 20th and 21st with 3 CDL teams and 13 Challenger teams. I wonder what CDL teams
what are the 3 CDL teams?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
And how did the Challenger teams get in? Can we play in this?
I don't know. I don't think so. They're probably invited. I really don't know.
Or maybe it's placements. Maybe something with placements or pro points or something.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Tom.
Great conversation.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Really
yeah, we're just beating the horse again. The one thing I hate about
the same horse.
I don't want to fucking pass over that because, first of all, it's a W Toronto Ultra. All right, W to chat for Toronto Ultra. I just didn't want to get sidetracked. I don't see what the problem is if you make a competitive game out the box. The only argument I can see is what Tony said. Like, they would kind of be going, like, from a casual standpoint, like, they'd be taking things out, right? So, like, they might be going backwards. But theoretically, if they dropped a competitive COD out the box, in my opinion, I thought Black Ops 2 was the best version of this, by the way. I thought Black Ops 2 was, like, even playing, like, it was just, they did such a good job finding, like, a balance between competitive and, like, pubs. You know what I'm saying? But
I think we got lucky with Black Ops 2. I don't think they had competitive in mind.
Right.
Like,
it was luck. It was luck.
Like, they just made great maps that actually worked well in a 4v4 format.
Is that really a faded thing to say, though?
Yeah, bro. Think about, bro. I used to camp behind the flag and CTF behind a turret. Like, I used to go pull the flag and Willie was back behind a turret.
I don't know, bro. They're saying
behind the flag.
They're saying
it was amazing, but it wasn't very competitive.
Like, what's stopping? Like, for instance, bro,
you used to put a microwave down and block a lane. You used to round a corner and get fucking obliterated by a microwave.
Yeah, is there ever a world where, like, there's another game that comes out that's like COD that's just called something else and it's just like
X-Defiant?
No, because X-Defiant wasn't like COD, bro. X-Defiant, see, that's what I'm saying. People say this shit, X-Defiant and this and that.
No, that's the issue, bro. Because Call of Duty,
feel like COD, bro.
I feel like, bro, Call of Duty's engine is unmatched. Like, the feel of Call of Duty is fucking impeccable. Like, when you play Call of Duty, like, the fluidity, the gunplay,
it's great, bro.
It's so good.
Yeah. Battlefield's a little bit different than COD. I feel like you can't compare Battlefield and COD. Battlefield's different. Battlefield's fun as fuck.
Yeah,
Battlefield's a legendary game, bro. That's the type of game where you're in straight war, bro. You're in straight war.
Battlefield's never tried to be like COD. Battlefield has always been like a very, like, Call of Duty's got fucking trolley skins in there. Battlefield's like a war game. You know what I mean?
Battlefield's fun as fuck, bro. That's more like, that's the type of shit where you. But I used to watch Crim playing that shit, laying in a bush. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a different game, bro. But I don't know,
bro. Call of Duty, yeah. I mean, Call of Duty has been here for 20 years, just refining the product.
I'm just saying, you drop a competitive game out the box, bro, right? And the game is built around, like, ranking up and shit. And then there's also just a casual playlist, like an unranked playlist, where people can, if they don't want to sweat or don't want to do that, they could go play that. And I still think the casuals would play that game. That might be faded. People are calling me faded for that. They think I'm brain dead, but I think casuals might even like more of a dumbed down, not so much going on. I feel like even do casuals like when there's so many attachments? I feel like I've seen a lot of casuals complaining about how things are just, there's so many settings, attachments.
That maybe not. I would hope not. I mean, the settings thing's a whole different issue. The fact that you need to change so many settings to play, back when there was like one page before, is kind of crazy.
Right, like, bro, I feel like casuals and like comp, I feel like there could be like a good like middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they would. I really don't think it's as dramatic as you're saying, Zinni. Like, I don't think there's no way, but. And then some people in the chat, some people in the chat were saying you're faded and shit. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we just agree to disagree. But I mean, yeah, I do think CS is a great example, bro. CS is a phenomenal example.
But CS is like CS has been a competitive game since day one, though. That's the issue.
That's why that's the only argument I can really hear. It's tough to go backwards back in time, right, Tony? Like, if you're changing,
and it's one thing if the player base, if it made sense, but like we are probably 1% or less than 1% of the Call of Duty base, like the competitive community. So, like, why would you ever cater to that as a business rather than the 99%? It just doesn't make sense.
Somebody said, bro, casuals think they're going to war with creator class. They love that shit. I mean, everybody loves different shit, right? I mean, they can still create a class. That's the thing, right? Like, bro, even in the competitive scene, you still create a class, right? I'm just saying, like, let me give you guys an example, all right? Public matches. If they made the best of the best competitive maps you've ever fucking seen in your life, if you take all the best competitive maps from all the years and you throw those as the only maps in the pubs, the casuals are gonna play the game. They're gonna play the game with those godlike maps. They're gonna play with those maps. They're gonna play. Rick 101 just faded. You're faded. Bro, I'm telling you.
I'm getting water. Hold on.
They're gonna play the game. They could make brand new, highly competitive maps, and they can throw it in multiplayer, and the casuals are going to play the game. They're going to play the game, bro. All right, Rick 101's trolling me, all right? And so is Val's. Val's is trolling me. Rick's trolling me. Everybody's trolling. People are saying Tom's brain dead. Bro, okay, then we can agree to disagree, bro. I really don't think they're going to know the difference between a highly competitive map and another. Like, they're not even thinking about it. They're just trying to go in, see what the map looks like, run around and shoot and get kills and rank up. You know what I'm saying? Get new attachments, right? They're playing like they're in war. Like, they don't even think about it like that. Like, they don't even think about the game like that. Like, they're just looking to have fun, right? That's what they're doing, right? Like, they're not looking to play competitive. I don't think they'll see the difference. Okay, this one guy said, relax, Sugar Plum. What the fuck? What the fuck? All right? And chat, what is it that casuals like? Like, what do I not understand about the casual community? What do I not? I'm cool with the casuals. Bro, I'm cool with the casuals, man. I got no problem with the casual COD player, man. I've been cool with the casuals for years. Some of you guys in here might be, you're a casual. Exactly, bro. I'm a casual. You know what I mean? There could be both, bro. There could be both. That's what both of them could work. All right, let's open up 100 cases. What do you think? Tony, you got anything else you want to say? Jimmy Demons, welcome. Jimmy, you got anything you want to add to the conversation, Jimmy?
No, I definitely agree that Call of Duty's feel is just unlike anything else.
It does, bro. It does. But
I also think X-Defiant colossally fumbled by not having a private match setting.
All right, I'm gonna say
when the game dropped.
People can agree or disagree. This is just my opinion. X-Defiant didn't feel that good. It didn't feel that smooth.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was that smooth. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't think it felt that smooth. But I played a lot of games. Okay, I played a lot of shooter games. Right. Okay. I just didn't think it felt that smooth. I don't like. It felt a little weird. It felt weird to me. It felt off. You know what I'm saying? It felt like clunky. That's me.
I think it could have caught a niche if it had private match.
Now I'm not sitting here and saying that it was a bad game. I agree, Jimmy. I had a lot of fun playing as Defiant. They definitely dropped the ball on not releasing a private match. If they would have released a private match, we would have had way more like 10s lobbies going, 8s lobbies going. Right, boom, boom, boom. We would have been playing like more of that shit, and then there would have been more of a competitive community. Like, they didn't really build that out. That's where their fan base was coming from, like the competitive people, and they didn't really build any of that out. And